Hey again, everybody. Bill Phillips here on a Monday. Nope, that's not it. We're going to see if we get this clock ticking. There we go. We got the clock ticking. All right, here we go, everybody. So it is a Monday. It is a college football playoff bracket that has been set. Some people say it's a mess. Some people say they got it completely wrong. Other people say, that's pretty good. Like how it sets up under the rules that they have. What do you think? Do you think the college football playoff system is out of whack? And how about the Steelers? Needed a win. Looked awful last week. Left for dead. Many people thought when they went 6-6 with a loss last week in which they looked horrible that they were done. But they get a big road win in Baltimore. And how about that touchdown call that didn't go the way of the Ravens? I thought it was a touchdown. Most people thought it was a touchdown. Apparently, it's not a touchdown. Again, we go back to what is a touchdown, what isn't a touchdown, how does it work, what's a catch, what isn't a catch. So we'll have to wait, and we can discuss all of that. Where do you weigh in on all of this stuff? We are here on a Monday talking some football and getting ready for the holiday season. Are you ready for the holiday season? Some people have already. Olivia Zinn, my co-anchor in the morning, she basically says she's done. Went on Black Friday, got all of her shopping done. Now she just has to wrap presents. Asked her if she was decorated for the season. Decorated. Everything's done. She's way ahead of the game. Me, on the other hand, not so much. Not so much, which isn't really surprising. But are you ready to go for the Christmas season as we close in? Believe it or not, basically a little over 2 weeks to Christmas Day. And it is, and of course, the new year and everything else. So 2025 is about to leave us as we get ready for 2026. One place that's always ready to go no matter what, Valley Converting. If you have paper products that need recycled, make sure you get in touch with Valley Converting. They do an excellent job. They are, of course, in T-Town, Toronto, Ohio, the Gem City.
Every piece of paper has a story. What if that story didn't end when you were done with it?
At Valley Converting, we turn your old paper products into recycled paperboard, continuing the story.
Locally owned and operated in Toronto, Ohio, bringing your paper to Valley Converting isn't just about recycling.
It's about supporting a cleaner, greener future for all of us.
We are here 5 days a week to help you make some green by going green.
And remember,
recycle for your future.
All right, we are back at it, everybody. SMC. She checks in. Hey, Mr. Bell. Hey, SMC. Hopefully you were doing well. Hopefully your Thanksgiving, it was a wonderful holiday. And now we are into the Christmas season. And, of course, football. I mean, this is really where, as they say, the rubber meets the road as teams get ready to go. And, I think I'm going to start with the college football playoffs. Unless someone wants me to start with the NFL, but the college football playoffs, a wild game on Saturday night. Now, I don't know if a wild game would be the right way to look at it, but some of the ways those games went on. Well, it looks like my phone just died, so that's not good. Some of the ways the games went: Big Ten championship game, Indiana and Ohio State. People wondered if Indiana is the real deal. They are the real deal. They come up with a win over Ohio State. Special teams let Ohio State down. Close field goal, and Indiana wins their first Big Ten title in a zillion years. They won. I think it was back in the '60s. They won their last one. So Indiana gets a win. They are now the number one team in the nation for the first time ever, and they are the number one seed in the postseason. Then it is Ohio State. They fall to number 2. We saw this last year when they lost their last game of the season against Michigan, and then they went on a run. They just mowed everybody down in the postseason. They are in at number 2. Georgia is number 3, the champion of the SEC. Talk about taking someone to town. They beat up Alabama. Alabama had -3 yards rushing. I got to be honest with you. This is where I have an issue with the selection committee. Alabama, I get it. They have a huge win against Georgia on the road in the regular season. The playoff, the games, the championship games have to count for something. I mean, it counted for Ohio State and Indiana. It's kind of like whoever won that game was going to be number 1. So they say that you're not going to be penalized. Well, they're not penalized. Ohio State moves to number 2, but they're still not number 1. So Alabama, they got thumped. 3rd loss of the season, but they're still going to the playoffs. And that was their statement game on Saturday. They had, everyone says, well, the other teams didn't play. Well, the other teams have the stage all themselves. So you can, put on a big performance and you're going to move up. I guarantee it. Let's see. Ohio State has only lost 1 game. Ohio wins the championship again. It would not surprise me. Ohio State is really, 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 really good. They are defending national champions, weapons all over the field. I don't think that would be a surprise for anybody if they won that. Texas Tech didn't really have a chance to see them a lot this season. They won against BYU to win the Big 12 title. They were the number 4 seed, and I'm just going off memory now since my phone has run out of gas. And then I believe Oregon was number 5. Oregon will play James Madison University. Oklahoma and Alabama will meet up again. Then you have, and they're the number 5 seed, Oregon. Number 6 seed is Mississippi. I just don't. It doesn't make any sense. It really doesn't. Tulane's in. Good for Tulane. Great season. They already played this game and they got beat by 5 touchdowns. JMU going to Oregon, going all the way across the country. They don't have a chance. I understand the rule is the way they set it up. You have to have 5 conference champions, and they needed another conference champion because you couldn't take an 8-5 Duke team after they beat Virginia. If Virginia had won, then Notre Dame would be in, all that stuff. Then of course you have Alabama, Oklahoma, and you have Miami and Texas A&M. So a number, there's a lot of great games, but those 2 games, I just don't see Tulane keeping it close. And I just, my problems with this year's selection is basically Alabama, you've got 3 losses and you just got whacked by Georgia. So you don't get penalized at all. You stay in the playoffs. I get it. Notre Dame didn't play, and that was big. Well, they couldn't add to the resume, but a lot of people think Notre Dame's been playing as well as anybody in the country at this point in the season. And then they had the whole Miami Notre Dame thing. Miami beat them at the first week of the season. I'm a Miami guy. I went to school there. And so am I excited they're in? Yeah, but it just doesn't feel, it feels like the field is not what it should be. They have to come up with some different rules on how you're going to put people in. I thought one of the, just do it 1 through 16. Add 4 more teams, do it 1 through 16. And, don't worry about, how many conference champions you have to have in there. The SEC, they always believe that they, have 8 teams that could be playing in the playoffs. I think, what do they have? They have Tech, they have Alabama, Georgia. Who else is in there? Can't think of it right now. Alabama, Georgia. That can't be it. Oh, Ole Miss. So they have 3 out of the 12. The Big Ten has a bunch. Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon. Who else? Anybody else in there? No. So there's a lot of teams. A lot of teams in there. Let's see. SMC Coach Day has brought the team where it needs to be. We may be number 2, but we can bounce back. Absolutely. It was a 3-point game. A couple plays here and there, and Ohio State wins that game. No doubt about it. MJ, checking in. I think BYU deserved to get in. Only lost to 1 team. Yeah, but again, and here's where I have a problem. It's not against BYU. Their quarterback got hurt. Their first drive of the game, they went down the field. They played well. BYU got penalized. They lost again to Texas Tech, and they got thumped. Alabama got thumped, and they have 3 losses. If we're gonna, if records mean anything, and I get resumes and strength. Sometimes I just think we overanalyze everything. It's like, okay, and that's what I'm saying. Maybe just go to 16 teams, and top 16 get in. Doesn't matter if you're a conference champion or not. What are the top 16 teams in the country? And usually by number 16, you can figure that out. And yeah, somebody's going to be ticked off whether it's the 5th and 6th team. If there's only 4 teams, it's going to be 9 and 10 teams. If there's only 8, it's going to be 13, 14 if there's only 12. And it's going to be 17, 18 if it, I mean, we have 60, what is it, 65 teams get in now or whatever it is for the play-in games in the NCAA basketball tournament. People still complain about that they don't have the right teams in or this team deserved to make it. Well, BYU got whacked on Saturday. They lost again in the championship game. And and I guarantee you this factors into it. Their quarterback hurt himself. He got hurt, wasn't able to run, hobbled around. Florida State the other year, they had a similar situation, and their team was penalized because they won the game in the ACC championship game, if I recall, but their quarterback, they didn't have a quarterback. They were on like their 4th string quarterback, and they didn't make the playoffs. So, that factors in. So that's another situation. Then you have coaching change, and then Notre Dame sitting there going, okay, we have 2 losses. They lost. How about this for people are good losses. They lost to Miami and they lost to Texas A&M. 2 teams in the playoffs by a total of 4 points. 3 to Miami, 1 to Texas A&M. I don't know how Notre Dame doesn't get in. Do I think that Miami should be in? Yeah. But I'm not, it's like, but Notre Dame doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. That's why I'm saying, Alabama, sorry about your luck. You have 3 losses. If the championship games don't mean anything, then just say it. And why even wait till after the championship games to vote on who goes in? Just vote it the week before after the regular season. If it doesn't matter, who cares? So, and then Notre Dame, a lot of people giving Notre Dame grief because Notre Dame's not going to play in a bowl game this year. Get over it. ESPN making a big deal about that. Basically, and remember, everybody, this is a reality TV show. NFL, college football, sports in general. It's the best reality TV. I love it. But, ESPN, how can Notre Dame not play a college bowl game and all that? Well, okay, well, you're the one that's going to broadcast it. They're not into the playoff, but now you're worried about them not playing a bowl game. Well, here's the problem. Last year, I had to watch Cam Ward, the quarterback for Tennessee now, who was the Miami quarterback, not play the second half of the bowl game, which didn't make any sense to me. If you're worried about getting injured in the game at all, why would you play the first half? But he played the first half. Miami was winning. He doesn't play the second half, and Miami lost. But I get it. He doesn't want to put himself at risk. Well, if you're a Notre Dame player and you've just reeled off 10 wins in a row or whatever it was to get to 10-2 with 2 losses by 4 points total, you have Jeremiah Love, could be a candidate for the Heisman Trophy, likely will be, going to the National Football League. Price, their other star running back, likely headed to the draft. Defensive players headed to the draft. They may have 5 or 6 guys that are starters that have a chance to get drafted in the first couple of days of the NFL draft. So you're not playing for a national championship, but you want us to go and play in an exhibition game in a bowl, because now that's basically what the bowls have become, unless you're a team like MAC champion, things like that. It's still an exhibition game, but basically that's your playoff game. That's your big game, especially if you play it before the New Year. So anybody who wants to give Notre Dame players grief about that, I mean, and then remember, there's 4 or 5 other teams. Baylor, they are not going to play in a game. There's a number of other teams that were bowl eligible that basically decided not to go in and play. All right. When you don't belong to a conference, you have total control of your schedule. That's what you get. Well, here's the thing with the whole conference conversation. The thing is, Notre Dame, yeah, they're an independent, and they play a really good schedule. They have a mandatory 5 games against ACC teams. They played Miami this year, Pitt this year, NC State. Who else did they play in the ACC? I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head. Stanford and one other team. What was the other team? Boston College. So they played 5 ACC teams. They have the rivalry games against USC, a top team in one of the top teams in the Big Ten. They also played Navy. Those are a couple. So that's 7 games right there. Then you throw in Texas A&M. So you're at 8 games, right? That's not a bad schedule at that point. And then off the top of my head, they played Syracuse, another ACC team. So here's the deal: they may be the only school that could pull off a network where the network's paying them that much money. And the other thing is, okay, you have championship games. Ohio State played, Indiana played in that championship game. Oregon didn't play in that game. Alabama and Georgia played. Ole Miss didn't play in that game. Texas A&M didn't play in that game. They didn't do anything else to move their resume one way or the other. So, and if you're not making the conference championship games really penalize anybody, then what's the difference? It's like, okay, sorry for Notre Dame, but it's not something that really should make an impact on it because they're not in a conference. Everybody wants them to be in a conference. A lot of people think they don't want to play in the Big Ten conference. The conference they would play in, they're already basically an ACC conference member because the schools line up more educationally for Notre Dame with North Carolina, Duke, Miami, Boston College. A lot of those schools, they fit and they have a better fit with it. So the biggest problem is right here. Corey checks in. Real travesty is having JMU and Tulane getting into the playoff and leaving teams like Notre Dame, Texas, and Vanderbilt out. Exactly. And the problem is they made the rules to have 5 conference champions. So they expected it to be an ACC champion. Well, the ACC's convoluted tiebreaker system gets Duke in there against Virginia. And then if Virginia had one, JMU or Tulane doesn't go in. Notre Dame gets in. And, and it just makes more sense. But again, instead of doing all this convoluted stuff, just take the polls 1 through 16 and make it a 16-team field. And then again, we'll still have people complaining that the 19th and 18th or the 18th and 19th or 17th, 18th, and 19th team should have gotten in. There's always going to be that complaint. But you can't tell me that Notre Dame isn't one of the top 12 teams in the country. Now, the way it all breaks down, again, Tulane and JMU are getting in because of the system, and they're going to go and get whacked. I believe Ole Miss has already beaten Tulane by 5 touchdowns, and they're playing again at Ole Miss, and Tulane's probably going to get beat by 5 touchdowns again. What's the point? JMU is going to travel from the East Coast all the way over to Oregon, and Oregon's going to give them a beating. Now, congratulations to JMU and Tulane. Nothing against those 2 schools. Great programs. But if you're trying to have the best 12, really? I mean, no one built in, no one thought enough of the system to like hit a trap door that opens up. You go, okay, you can get out of this. It's kind of like the Constitution. You can amend the Constitution. That's what the founding fathers did. They're like, okay, how can we do this? All right, now if everything's going squirrely on us, how can we fix this? Well, you can amend the Constitution. You have to vote, and it has to go through the system, but you can make it happen. So again, and the biggest thing, that I think people are missing the point with Notre Dame, and a lot of people with the crying Irish and all that stuff, is the fact that, again, I would imagine they're hugely disappointed. They probably thought there's no way we're not going to get in. But once they are not in, and you have just the starting backfield is going to the NFL draft, probably will get drafted in the first round. Jeremiah Love's a first-round pick. He might be a top 5 pick. You have offensive linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, cornerbacks, wide receivers. There could be, like I said, 4 or 5 guys that are going to go in the first 2 days of the NFL draft. Why at this point would they put their NFL careers on the line to play basically an exhibition game to be on TV? So I don't really have a problem with Notre Dame. I don't really have a problem with any team that if you're not in the playoff, if you have enough guys that are going to, and then the thing is, if those guys sit out, if those 4 or 5 guys sit out, now you're playing all second teamers. It's a great experience for them, but are you really seeing the real team? And then if Notre Dame went and lost to Vandy, let's say, and Vandy had all their guys going, everyone, oh, see, Notre Dame shouldn't have been in the playoffs. But that's the great thing about college football, pro football, everything else. You can talk about it, kick it around. Everybody has an opinion. No one's necessarily right or wrong. So interesting. I'll watch all the playoffs. Go Canes. That's where my heart lies. So looking forward to that. But I really don't think Alabama should be in with 3 losses. I mean, if you're breaking all this stuff down, and then the 2, JMU and Tulane, again, because of the rules they're in. But if you're going to have championship games, they have to matter one way or the other. And congratulations to Indiana. I mean, how about that? 2 years in a row, Indiana's just steamrolled everybody. And they go in as the number 1 overall team. And I would imagine their quarterback wrapped up the Heisman Trophy. So I just looked at the clock. I've been talking way too long. So I need to get going. And then in the NFL, Shedeur Sanders, Cleveland Browns fans, do you have your quarterback in the future? 4 touchdowns yesterday. I know it was against Tennessee. I know they're not the best team, best defense, but they're an NFL team, and he has played pretty well since he's come in, and he's gotten more and more reps during practice because apparently he wasn't getting anything before he came in for Gabriel. But now 4 touchdown passes against only 1 interception yesterday. Interesting. Steelers somehow find a way to get past the Baltimore Ravens and get a win. But that's what they do. That's that rivalry game, and it matters because they are now 7-6, 4 games to go. Huge game against Miami on Monday Night Football. Got to believe the Steelers will be ready to play in that game. So, Steelers fans out there thinking maybe, they can find a way to the finish line. But Baltimore's not going to go down without a fight. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Joe Burrow, I thought, was going to pull off a win in Buffalo, but late interception. And, it's just – and how about Kansas City Chiefs? They may be done. For everybody that's tired of seeing the Chiefs in the playoffs, they may be done. Yeah. Colts are finished now. Yeah, they lose Daniel Jones, apparent Achilles injury. They lose yesterday, so that's going to be a tough one. But the Colts they're in trouble right now. But an interesting weekend of college football and pro football. And again, everybody's got an opinion. That's just my opinion. And it's one of those things where it's always fun to talk about. It's reality TV and fun to talk about and kick around. But I think that there's got to be a better way to set up that system so you're getting in the top 12 teams. And, maybe if I'm saying the top 12 teams, would I put in Texas over Alabama? Maybe not, depending on how this all – if you had 16 teams. So, but, a couple teams got whacked this weekend and one got in, one didn't. But I get that. BYU is not getting in because they got thumped and their quarterback got hurt. So that matters. But that about does it. Again, have to thank Valley Converting. Have to thank you for being a part of this. But it's going to be fun to watch some college football and some pro football playoffs. And in Ohio State, until someone beats the champ, they're still the champ. I mean, and, Indiana beat them. But if they met again, could they do it again? I saw two different brackets, 2 analysts, because Miami would play Ohio State. One analyst had Texas A&M going through their home. It's a tough place to play. And then taking on Ohio State, and he had Ohio State moving on. Then the other guy had Miami winning against Texas A&M and then winning against Ohio State, but then losing to Georgia in the semifinals. And I think they had Georgia and Texas Tech. Texas Tech right now, the sexy pick for a lot of the analysts around the country. But they look good. But, BYU did not have their quarterback at full strength. It'll be interesting to see how they go. Anyways, again, thank you for joining me. Remember the 2 rules, everybody. Have fun and always try your best. We will see you next time.